Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Carnivore Evolution podcast. Today we have a special guest. Pat is from Dublin. Pat has been on a situation with his heart for such a long time, and he was told to go on statins. He was told that the only way he was going to help him with his heart was to go on statins. This is something that he didn't want to do. Today he's actually going to share his story. So without this advice, guys, what we're going to do is we're not saying we're doctors, but what we're going to do is we're actually going to talk about this today. So without further ado, Pat, how are you today?
Not too bad, but I have good days and bad days.
Good
Energy
stuff. Oh,
level
good
is.
stuff. So let's talk about your story. Bring me back to the very, very beginning. When did all this start?
Well, I would have been under a bit of stress there about 7 years ago, probably 8 years ago, and I knew there wasn't something quite right with myself. Like then I was thinking I was getting old, like because I was 50, and you're not like you're 25 anymore. But anyway, eventually I'd gone to my doctor, and I did say I was feeling bit of pressure in the chest and that, like, but it wasn't a pain pressure, it was just a lull, I'd call it. But anyway, like, so I was sent for tests and they recommended me the statin, and I had been tried to put on it before, but I always refrained from it. Actually, when it could be 25 years ago or 20 years ago, when they tried to put me on the statin, I didn't take it. I said he gave me the food pyramid. And even though I'd eat a lot of good food, but I'd be eating not so good food as well. And what happened was, I thought after the 6 months back for the blood test again for the cholesterol, they said to me, my cholesterol was down. And I couldn't figure out what it was. And then I realised, I just heard, we're doing 20 odd years ago, they start getting in, like my father always ate grapefruits. I started eating grapefruits. And the grapefruits brought down the cholesterol naturally. Because that's the only, because I drank the way, but I liked a few pints. I drank the way I drank. I had a few takeaways. I would have, like this 20 odd years ago. And anyway, so it brought down the cholesterol anyway, significantly now. I think I was up around 6 and it had me down to 4. Now, I have to say as well, they've changed the goalposts here with the cholesterol as well, the levels and how they're measuring it. And it's the triglycerides is the problem. Is the main. And my triglycerides are low, even though they're saying my total cholesterol is over 6. But how are they measuring that? And then I did read a report there recently, that there's actually a third type of cholesterol. You have the LDL, the HDL, and then there's another one. But there's really no bad cholesterol. The cholesterol. For me, the main thing with the cholesterol is if people smoke and are heavy smokers, they know that makes the blood sticky. So the cholesterol then be more inclined to stick to arteries and that. Going to where was it? I'm losing my train of thought here. But anyway, look, my own thing with the last time anyway I was at my doctor, they tried to put me on 5 milligram. So it went from 20 milligram nearly 4 years ago to 5 milligram statins, and I haven't taken either. Because I feel okay. I know my problem isn't going to be solved by a statin. And the other thing is, anyone that is on a cholesterol tablet, they're supposed to take, you probably know this, and I've been watching other doctors, they're supposed to take an enzyme called CoQ10, which you can get in a lot of health shops. And it's expensive. It is expensive. But look, at the end of the day, like, they tell you when you, as well with the statin, you'll be on this for the rest of your life. And then I was that's what put me off. And then he went, oh, you don't have to take it all the time, or you can come off it. But I mean, then there's the other things about it. Like, I don't know whether this is true or not, but what I do know is, because my sister works in the hospital, she says a lot of the staff that come in from Europe or anywhere to work in the hospitals now, and they've come in from nursing homes. Some of them come to Ireland, they end up in a nursing home working, and then they get a job in a general hospital. But they've said they can't get over the amount of people with Alzheimer's and dementia and Parkinson's, and at a young age. Now, at the end of the day, you know, they'll tell you, like this, the way the statin works is it blocks off your own cholesterol production. You probably know all this. But I mean, at the end of the day, you need that production. And your body produces, I think, about 3,000 milligrams a day. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. When I went back over, they told me 3 years ago or 4 years ago that we want your cholesterol down to 1.5. And I remember saying it to the nurse when she was doing me bloods again. And the nurse, she would have been near retirement at the time. And she says to me, they're dreaming. She said she never heard of it. Like, she's not even a doctor. She says, they're dreaming. I said, that's what the hospital said. They wanted me cholesterol down to 1.5. And that's their new target. And nobody can get to that. Like a doctor tried, there'll be a few doctors in on cover in my GPs, and one fella, he was Swedish. He says, "Oh, you can, but what's the achievement?"
Exactly, and I can only imagine how you would have felt if it was that low.
Well, some people say if your cholesterol goes down that low, your whole immune system you're open to
Gone.
cancer.
Your immune system is fucked, absolutely fucked.
Yeah, you're just on it. And as another fella says, he never heard anyone that's on statins for months saying they feel great. You know what I mean? It's not something that's going to, give you a boost or anything. It's, at the end of the day, it's like as we get older, like I know myself there during the winter there now, I would have been very reluctant to do anything, and be active in that, like, and, but like I've done a few things myself anyway, and I'm happy. And the other thing as well I found out is it's actually normal for your cholesterol to get higher as you get older. Because
it's
and it
extremely
helps your
important.
repair. It's
extremely important. It's extremely important as we get older. You want your body to heal, and the only way it's going to heal is if you keep your cholesterol up really, really, really high.
Yeah. Well, actually, I knew a chap now that he worked with me, and this would be about 15 years ago. And I remember him telling me and he was about 6 foot. He was slim, no body fat. He wouldn't be a drinker or a smoker or anything. Ate very well. His cholesterol was 11, so he was eating the grapefruits anyway, and that. So I don't know what way he did it to get it down, but like they're trying to tell. I'd say people that smoke heavily anyway, they're at risk of something anyway. They're going to be at risk, but but me and heart attacks and all that, I don't know for people. I never smoked in my life. I never took a drug. I drank a few beers, probably a few too many, a few times, and what have you. But like, I just listened to one doctor recently. He says most heart attacks and strokes are all caused by a blood clot. Most over 90% of them are caused by a blood clot, not actually a blockage.
And see, that's the problem, because most heart attacks are not caused by a blockage. They're actually caused by inflammation.
The heart attacks.
Yeah, inflammation is the biggest killer when it comes to heart disease. So when we hear the thought that, like, if I asked you, like, say 5 years ago, like, what are you hearing at the moment? You're going to hear an awful lot about cholesterol. You're going to hear an awful lot about fat. You're going to hear an awful lot about red meat. We're all told that you need to eliminate these foods because this is going to lead to heart disease. But people don't understand that when you're eating these foods, what else are you eating these foods with? Or what else are you having these foods with? Alcohol, bread, chips, snacks,
It's a
all this
cocktail.
shit. Yeah.
So
this is where, when they come out with all these bullshit studies, they forgot to mention these little small things in the background. Meat and cholesterol and fat was never ever the problem. Never. And like you mentioned, there are so many people now at a young age that are suffering dementia. They're suffering with their mental health. They're struggling with their overall health. They're struggling with their heart. And what we're doing is we're putting our faith in the wrong people, because we're going to these people and all they're trying to do is push a statin on you. And these statins are actually going to make you worse instead of better. So what they're doing is they when you look around at the food system, they've actually created the problem. And now that they've created the problem, they're going to keep on giving you the solution. So when you look at this continuous circle, this major problem with the food system, they're making you eat this food. So when you do become sick, you're in these fuckers' hands.
Yeah, and like I think you had a doctor. You showed a clip of a doctor there a few days ago, and he said like, yeah, the doctors he said himself in the end that they can only treat the problem, which is
Mm-hmm.
continuous.
Yeah.
You know, like actually my sister would often say it years ago, and I'm going back 10, 15 years ago, it's a tablet for a tablet for a tablet. Like I know people that were on tablets for an ulcer, and the tablet for the ulcer then was called some other aggravation in the stomach, and then did a tablet for that.
Mm.
You know,
See,
so that's
I don't have an issue with medication. I don't have an issue with it whatsoever. The issue I have is how do we get people off them? So if you're gonna be on these medications for say 1 or 2 weeks or whatever, that's okay. That might actually help the solution. It might actually put a band-aid on the situation. But if you're getting back to me like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and you're telling me that you're still on medication, well, I'm sorry, the system has actually failed you.
yeah, you're on for the same problem. But you see, them doctors as well, I understand, like, I come from my own, like, see, you have yourself in a regime of what you want to eat. That's all very fine, and you know what's good and you know what's bad. But when you go to someone else that's probably overweight, you know, their lifestyle's bad, and if you say to them, listen, this is what you're going to have to do to get yourself right, it's nearly
Hmm.
alien to them, you know? So
Yeah.
the doctors know, well, if I give this chap this tablet, that tablet, whatever tablet, and that'll keep him ticking over, you know. Now, and like I can look back, I had an aunt and uncle there. They only died a couple of years ago, now, but they were in their late 80s, and loved their drinking and their smoking, particularly when they were young. They gave up the smoking probably 30, 40 years ago, but I can remember them telling me back in the 1980s about the cholesterol tablet, like, and that, you know, that
Mm,
they were taking a cholesterol tablet, like, as if it was some sort of a miracle longevity life cure, you know.
mm,
Now,
mm. And what?
considering the age they lived and the lifestyle they lived, like, maybe there's a little bit of evidence for them, but for me, tablets were never for me. Like, you know, I'll take the odd aspirin, all right, but I'll always make sure I've food in my stomach. That's another thing.
So
People think,
so so when you were given this advice about medication, were you ever given any advice about what to eat or nutrition or anything
oh
like that
yeah,
at all?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, they knew I knew a lot anyway. Like, I know what to eat and all that. But, like, you know, it depends where you are, and I'm just one of these people that'll look, if all the best of healthy food is in front of me, I'll eat it.
Mm,
But if I come in one day and all the cakes and the buns and the, you know, I'll I'll go for that too. But saying that too, say I was saying to you there, when I was under the stress 7, 8 years ago, for a few years, I realise now, especially from listening to you over the last year or so, or probably more, I don't know how long I'm just watching, you keep on about inflammation. I was getting inflammation
mm,
because one day I I hit me knee off the back of a tow bar of a van. You know, and I thought nothing about it for a few minutes. But next thing, it's my knee swelled up and start burning. So
mm,
I start putting ice on and all that, thinking it'd come down and all that. A few days later, it was still the same. So I went to the hospital and they X-rayed it, and they they gave me this a prescription to get these tablets. So just they worked straight away. These tablets did. I only had to take one
mm,
a day or two a day or something, and few months later anyway, my knee was at me again. And I had the name of the tablets, and I went into my own doctor and I asked him, I says, yeah, the hospital gave me a prescription for them and they worked. And they told me to go to you if I needed any more. But I says, they only gave me enough, say, I think it was 4. So it was for 2 days. But I says, it worked. When I showed him the prescription, he says to me, what do you want to be taking that shit for?
Mm-hmm.
They were a highly strong anti-inflammatory tablet. But I actually think, like I had them out there, I still have them out there. But I actually think I became immune to them because even though I only took them, say, 2 days and maybe 2 days another time, the second time I took them, I don't think they really did anything for me. But I mean, if it's able to cure a very bad burning in the knee, like which really, even though I injured it, it was inflammation. Like you wanted the heat of my knee was something else. Like
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
and the fact that it was able to do that, like what else is it doing to other parts of your body? You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. See, the
It's
medication
going to
will.
have an effect on the head or the brain or the heart as well. You know.
That's the problem. See, the medication, they will fix the problem, but it's not gonna fix the problem long term.
No.
So if the root of the problem is still there, well then all you're doing pretty much is you're only putting a band-aid on these problems. You're
Yeah.
not actually fixing these problems at all.
Yeah. For me, like you're dead right. Like for me, a doctor, like they're great for antibiotics, or if you have a problem or you hurt yourself or whatever, and that's it. The problem gets resolved. But like, look, when people go into their 50s or their 60s in particular, they're probably going to end up some form of long-term medication. Now, that's if they get high blood pressure and all that. But that was going back to my other thing with my heart, the cardiomyopathy. You're supposed to have high blood pressure with that. And you know, I've never had high blood pressure in my life. I actually, one time a couple of years ago, like I had to go in for the full check, and the nurse, she done me blood pressure, and she went out of the room. She left the consultation room and come back a few minutes later. And she says to me, "Oh, I just went out to check with the doctor your heart rate now, because that would have been my main doctor. Like he'd know me." And she says to me, "Your heart rate was only about 55 beats a minute." She says, She says, it could have been lower, I don't know. She says, you have the sitting heart rate of a 25-year-old Olympic athlete. He says, I wish I had. I says, it's like that. I says, probably because I have a restriction on the pump of my heart, you know. Now, they are afraid of pooling down there. It's in the bottom. They're afraid of pooling. If the blood pools, then it can clot. But that's only if it's thick. And the other thing I found out only recently, so that's the left, down at the left ventricle, slightly swollen. On the other side, the right side, if there's any damage, I think, to the right side of the heart, it restricts your breathing. Now, I've had asthma all my life now, but I'm not too bad with it, like. But well, since I was about 12, but I'm not too bad with it. But I find in the last, even though all these problems I've had in the last 8 years, I find my breathing is quite good.
And where are you today? Like what's the diagnosis? Are you okay? What does
No,
it
they
what
send me. No, they send me. Or so I ended up out of work and everything. So due to, because I'd get medicals in the job and that, and you know, well, I'd have been out sick and that, and I ended up out of work. But they I have to go back. I was in a few months ago. Was it in earlier this year or before Christmas? And they check everything. I go into another medical centre, not my own practice, not my own GP's practice, and then I have a bad varicose vein on my leg. And what happened was I must have hit it unknown to me. Now, I have the varicose vein 50 years. I have it since I was about 17 or 18. And down the kind of side of the inside of my calf. You can see it, like. But I gave it a bang, and it got sore, and it went very hard. Now, I was told by a physiotherapist about 20 years ago that that vein is dead.
Mm.
And I went to go and get that off. My doctor advised me against it 25 years ago. But that vein is running from the bottom of my, inside of my ankle up to my groin. And I
Okay.
was sent to hospital, and they were able to, see, I thought they'd be able to laser it off. But he said, no, they have to be cut out, and I could be out of work for, at the time I was going to be out of work for about 4 weeks. It
Mm.
was a big enough operation. So they are sending me now into St. James's to have it looked at. But I'm going to check with my older doctor, who's kind of retired. He was a bit of an expert on that.
Mm.
And he's the one who advised me against ever getting it off. So all they were afraid of was thrombosis in behind it, deeper in the calf, you know.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's fine. It's not causing me any trouble or anything, and it's not bulging out like it used to. Used to bulge out if I'm walking and that, like, and it'd get itchy now and again, but you know, like, but that was the thing. One of the doctors was trying to encourage me to take the statin because of the veins, like, you know. But I don't think they do anything for the veins, really.
What does your diet look like at the moment?
Me diet,
Yeah. Like what are you
I'm
what
not,
are you eating on a daily basis?
I'm not too bad now. I would eat now. I'd eat a lot of chicken myself now, and I don't eat a few potatoes. I try and eat you know, the sauerkraut, and I haven't been eating it now, but the last few weeks I have a load of it out there. I'm going to eat it. I do eat buckwheat
Mm-hmm.
and quinoa.
Mm-hmm.
I eat I'll eat chicken. I'll eat fish. No, I'll eat fish. I'll probably have it this evening to see brain. You know,
Okay, so you say
and
you've been
I
so
had now. Are you be against bread, right? I had 3 small slices of bread there, 2 fried eggs earlier on, and what else I have? I do eat a few nuts now. I'd eat the cashew nuts, handful of cashew nuts, and that. I'm
okay,
not
so
too bad. I'm not too
no,
bad.
okay, so you say you've been watching me for the last year. So what
I'm
have you
more.
taken out of it? What have you taken out of it?
You eat steak.
And what have you understood about insulin resistance, sugar,
Oh yeah.
carbohydrates,
Oh, I
toxicity?
understand that. Yeah, you know a lot about that. Yeah. Well, I've learned a lot of that from you yourself, and like a lot of what you're saying is making sense. But and I'd say it's true. And if you could get everyone to do what you're doing, it would solve all the problems they have. But
Well,
you know,
I'm gonna ch-
I
I'm
and
gonna
you know, but it's going to be very hard to, you know, people that are in, like, especially people with young families. You know, it's very hard for them to change their way of eating. You know.
but we need to start with you. Like, how old are you?
I'll be 59 next year.
You're 59. Okay,
Next year.
I'm only 8 years behind you.
You're 51, are you?
I'm
50.
51. I'll be 52 in November.
You're looking good for it.
You know what I mean? And I can tell you right now,
Mm.
100% that your diet is not healthy. Period.
Oh, I know that. Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be 100%.
It's
Like
not.
I
It's
eat,
not.
I eat,
It's
I
not.
only eat real butter now and all that. You know, I don't eat the soft butter. I only eat the good hard butter, and I eat a lot of fruit now and that. You know, but I've
Yeah,
been.
but see, that's the problem. You're eating a lot of fruit. This is not healthy.
You're getting the fruit.
None of this is all healthy. Your
Yeah. You were
quinoa,
saying that
your
to me.
potatoes,
Yeah, I wouldn't be
none of
going mad on
this.
the spuds now. I'd try and keep away from them. But I know you're saying everything you need is in the red meat.
Yeah, basically all the foods that you've just spoken to me right now. If there's no fat in that meal, then you're pretty much pissing against the wind. All I hear in that diet is just sugar. Now, when you spoke to me about your heart and the how the blockages and the clogs and all that kind of stuff, this is all bullshit. What's causing the problems is inflammation, and
Mm.
unless you address this very very soon,
Mm.
then I can promise you right now, nothing's going to change. Nothing.
Yeah. And I've shaved up a little bit now in the last couple of months. Wait, I have to ask, you know, what's your opinion on the apple cider vinegar?
You don't need it. You just need to eat properly. That's it.
And like I use a water filter tap. Like I eat blueberries, but I mean, like the fish would have a lot of good oil in it. You know, that fish, the sea bream is known as the white salmon because he's so oily. Like I bake it and it's still oily. You know, I don't
Yeah,
cover,
but
but
the problem is what you have it with.
Vegetables.
Yeah, so there's the problem right there.
You reckon the veg is no good?
The veg is no good.
Broccoli and carrots and all that.
No good.
So yeah, like that's kind of, you know, yeah, but you know when you were saying like just for yourself, like you're saying you eat red meat every day, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what about the iron? You see, different things suit different people, you know, and then some people have, they reckon as we get older, we have more iron.
See, I would understand that. I would
But
understand that if it,
some people don't have enough iron there innate because they aren't. But I mean, you need iron, but iron can be hard in the kidney too, you know.
No, not if you're eating not if you're eating an animal-based diet. It won't be. You're getting all the iron that you need. You're getting all the vitamins and minerals that you need in red meat. You don't get as much in vegetables. If anything, you don't get anything in
No, but I mean,
vegetables
I'm
whatsoever.
saying, would you not be getting too much iron if you're eating red meat all the time?
No,
No.
none whatsoever. None.
So when you're getting your dinner, it's just a steak or beef or whatever, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the problem is you just need to make sure that when you're eating these foods, they have enough fat in it.
Yeah, because you need fat for absorption.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that when
you need
when
about 6. You need 6%. I think it's 6% fat you need to absorb.
see I'll tell you what this is
protein.
Yeah, see, this is the problem with vegetables. Vegetables are needed because they want to slow down the absorption of the glucose. But where does that glucose come from? That glucose comes from carbohydrates. So would it not be just better just to remove these in the first place?
Right. Yeah. I know. I tell you now, my partner, she said to me that her mother told her this years and years ago. That someday, anyway, that particularly the vegetables and all that, you see, they haven't got the nutrients in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
The ground hasn't got the minerals and nutrients
Mm-hmm.
what it had
Mm-hmm.
50 or 60 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they reckon even in some places, I don't know, some countries, they're absolutely, they're you know, I don't know, their water and stuff with sugar and everything.
Absolutely. You go into a supermarket. You go into a supermarket. If you don't see vegetables like with the dirt on them, I can guarantee you they're artificially made. That's it.
Yeah, well, there's cross contamination anywhere. Even if we were a totally organic island, the wind is going to blow in the chemicals anyway, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you're correct there. And actually, how you know an organic apple and all that is, it shouldn't be totally formed.
Exactly.
The root of it where it was hanging on the tree should be on the side even or something. It
Exactly.
shouldn't.
Yeah.
It should be deformed really. When people seen it, they think it's something wrong with it, where it's actually normal. What we're getting isn't normal. But
and see as I mentioned, the two biggest killers when it comes to your health is chronic inflammation and having high levels of insulin. Insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is what's leading to major health conditions, including heart attacks.
Yeah.
Inflammation is the killer. And unless you bring inflammation down and you allow the body to heal, then you're going to be pretty much on medication for the rest of your life. You can control this yourself. You don't want to be in the situation. You don't want to be in the hands of these people. You should be able to look after your own health. How do you know this is never going to work unless you actually try it?
Yeah. Do you know what I found now? You know, like I wouldn't eat that many takeaways, you know, not. But I did notice a couple of them in particular, and even I suppose I'm not mentioning the brand name, but in a shop I thought one day off for a quick snack there, I'll get one of these. You know, they're a quite large pot noodle.
Mm.
You'd see them and they're in quite a big tub. Well, I ate one of them one day. Probably didn't even eat at all. And the next morning, the burning I was feeling down,
Mm.
not as your down your shin where your foot meets your leg, the
Mm.
burning in the joint, and I knew straight away it was from that.
Yeah.
And an uncle of mine at a visit there, he always does a coffee with this coffee mate milk powder or something there is.
Mm.
And like I'd never had one, and one day I had it, and I don't really drink a cup of tea like I eat. The next day I had that burning again. Now that was a good space of time, so I connected it straight away with what I was drinking or what I was eating. This was burning information, like, you know. And he gave me a tub of the coffee mate or whatever it was called, the milk powder, and I showed it to my partner, and she says, "Sure, it's no wonder your foot's she's just full of chemicals.
Mm.
It's full of chemicals."
Mm.
So it's yeah, like I can remember one day as well, just going on to another subject, how hard it is for people. I remember going into one of the major supermarkets with my sister. She says, "Will you come down? I'm going shopping. I'll meet you." She says, "I'm going into the shop." "Oh, sure, I'll go in with you." I said. We went into the shop anyway, and the first 10 yards of the aisle was just all biscuits and cakes and sweets,
Mm.
all the things you don't need,
Mm.
you know.
Mm.
So like it's all, and then I can remember they don't do it so much now, but there a few years ago, probably before the COVID, you go into a petrol station and you'd be paying for your petrol or diesel or whatever, and you might pick up something, and then you get to the cashier, and the cashier would say, "Do you want a bar of chocolate or do you want this and that?" They were nearly trying
Mm.
to sell them onto you, you know.
Mm.
I was either going to say to them, "Was it for free?"
Mm.
It's all everything's in your face, and then all the chocolate now has what's a palm oil in it now.
Yeah, and when you look at the food pyramids, if you look at the very, very top, the
Mm,
two main things that we're told to take on a daily basis, carbohydrates, it's not even
mm,
an essential macronutrient. And then you look at vegetables. Vegetables are
mm,
not even a nutrient. And we're told on a daily basis that we need to make sure that we get these foods into our diet. I mean, just think about that for a second. The top one is not even an essential macronutrient, and the second one is not even a nutrient. But these people are saying, like, listen, everybody's diet should have this. It just does not make sense.
but the only thing about the vegetables is you're getting roughage.
Yeah, but you're getting roughage for what reason? You're getting roughage because you want to slow down the absorption of the glucose that's heading into your body. Now that
Mm,
glucose comes from carbohydrates. So if you want to get rid of that and have that roughage, then you don't actually need any of this. You just need to give your body the essential nutrients it needs to thrive on. When you do that, you're going to be a lot healthier. You're going to maybe even live longer. You're going to be pain free. I mean, I'd understand if it was just one person in the world that's basically arguing against this. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people that are in the same situation as you right now that are
yeah.
implementing a carnivore lifestyle, and now they're actually thriving. They're not on statins anymore. They don't rely on their doctors, and now they're actually doing quite well for themselves. And they took matters into their own hands.
Yeah.
So
I don't,
if it was just one person, I'd say okay, fair enough. But I've heard this story maybe about 100 times in the last year. And if these people are saying, like, listen, this diet has changed my life, these are the people you need to be listening to, not your
mm,
doctors.
mm. But I was going to say to you, there was a girl on, I don't know whether you had her on a clip, but or she was on anyway on TikTok. Which, if it even was here, I can't remember anyway, but she looked great anyway. And I didn't know who she was anyway, but she seemed to be someone famous in America or something. Maybe and your man just says, "Oh, what are you eating? Like, you've changed and you look so well." And She says, I'm eating 3 small steaks a day. She says, that's it.
Oh yeah, that's what's her name?
Who was that?
Michaela Peterson.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's Jordan Peterson's daughter.
Oh, yeah, yeah, because he did it too. Yeah, he
Yeah.
did
So her story is incredible. Her story, she shouldn't even be here. She was in so much pain. She suffered with
Mm,
arthritis all her life.
mm.
She couldn't even walk. She literally couldn't walk. She went to see all the specialists, and these were all really like top specialists. Not one of them could come up with an idea. Not one. And it wasn't until she came across Sean Baker and he mentioned the carnivore diet. And he just said to her, listen, just try it. All I want you to do is just eat steak for the next month. Within 1 week, her condition improved. I mean, just think about that for a
And,
second.
well, like, so if you're going to eat steak every day and just steak,
Mm-hmm.
you see, the other problem people have too is a lot of people want to feel full when they're had their food.
Have you ever
You
eaten
know?
steak on its own? Have you ever eaten steak on its own?
Yeah.
Okay, if you eat steak on its own with a lot of fat in it, I can guarantee you will know what fullness is all about.
Mm. Yeah, well,
Huh,
so, well,
100%.
see,
Because you're,
the thing about me is I could always eat a lot, like, you know. I could
but that
always eat
but
too
see
much.
that's food addiction. That's not. There's a difference
Oh, yeah,
between.
yeah, yeah. No.
I
It's not
mean,
knowing when to stop.
I was the very same. I could eat non-stop. I used to eat 9 meals a day. I could eat
Mm-hmm.
non-stop, and then at the weekend I would go out for a carvery and I would eat like desserts, the chocolates. I wouldn't know when to stop.
Yeah, I've
That
seen
is
the old
that
pictures of you there. I've seen the
that's
pictures from
that
you
that's called an addiction. Whereas if you
here.
eat the right food,
Mm.
you're talking to someone that used to eat 9 meals a day. I only eat 2 meals a day.
Yeah, yeah.
2 meals a
So what
day.
do you?
My first meal keeps me full for nearly 9 hours.
So you eat 2 meals a day. So it's 2 steaks, is it?
Two steaks. I have ground beef with it, and I probably go through around 60 eggs a week.
Oh yeah, and when do you eat them? For breakfast?
I have them for breakfast, so I'll have six in the morning, and I'll have another four then in the afternoon. And all I'll have is I'll have some ribeye steak on it, some ground beef or lamb. I'll cook it in a lot of
When you
beef
say
tallow.
ground beef, do you mean minced?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll
Yeah,
make sure and then I'll make sure my fats are very, very high. And
yeah,
that's what's healing my body.
yeah. I'd never buy minced meat. Like minced beef. I'd get unless the butcher minces it in front of me. You know, because when you're buying
Mm.
it in the packets in the shops there, it's all full of dye and all that. And I
Oh
know
yeah,
that
it's all
from
yeah.
40 years ago because I seen lads that were working in the butchers and they were showing me, and you've seen the meat all nice and red and be a deep red and shiny, where really it should be a dull darkish brown
Mm. Mm.
because blood goes kind of
And
you
that's
know
and that and that and that's the same with our fruit, Pat. Because when you think about our fruit that was 100 years ago, it wasn't anywhere near as tasty as what it is right now.
Oh, I know that, yeah. Like, there's no actually a lot of any of the foreigners that come into the country, like they'll always tell you about when they get the fruit from the forests in their own countries. The taste is far stronger, you know.
Mhm.
Here, what we're getting here is all a diluted.
Yeah.
It's all diluted, and it's a lot of like you go into any of the supermarkets there, a lot of that fruit or veg or whatever could be stored for up to a year
And see,
before it gets to the shelf.
it's so sad to see when you see butchers that are really, really struggling financially because they're up against the supermarkets. But if only people knew, and this is why we have to keep on spreading this message, that the meats that we're getting in the shops, it's just shit.
Mm.
It's just shit. I mean, when you look at the front, it'll say chicken, protein, amazing. Turn the packet around and have a look at the ingredients. Now, when you think about it, chicken it should only have one ingredient, pretty much. Protein. That's it. Nothing else. When you turn it around, if the product has, like, say, 10 ingredients and people are buying it, there's the problem right there. Because what you're doing is they have these hidden sugars that are in these foods that nobody has any idea what they're called. The likes of
Now,
dextrose,
well,
maltodextrin, caramel, flavorings, E numbers. These are all signs of hidden sugars. But people are prepared to buy the cheap stuff because they can't afford it. Whereas if you go into a butcher's, you're probably going to get a breast of chicken that's probably going to be a little bit more expensive. But the only thing is, though, that chicken that you're getting in the butcher's is going to be better for you than the chicken that's in the supermarkets.
yeah, I know a lot of them, a lot of the chicken, even the chicken fillets and all that, even in the, like, I've seen a few local butchers now in small villages and that, it's all coming in boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where it's coming from?
Mm-hmm. China.
China. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it's
Did
all
you
coming from.
did you
But
did you see
did you
did
go
did you
on?
see that did you see that video I only put up the other day on Instagram about the fit foods?
No.
I
Yeah.
put a video up on TikTok the other day about these fit foods. Everybody keeps on telling me, Mark, you need to do a review on these because all the fitness influencers tell people, like, listen, if you're looking for a low calorie snack, you should buy these foods. So I went in and I explained to the audience. I said, listen, look at the front. It says low calorie, high protein. But when you turn it around, it says this chicken was made in the EU and non-EU. So this chicken was
Can't
half
be both.
made. This chicken was half made in a different country. Yet people are prepared to buy this food and just eat it because it says low calorie.
Chicken was on holidays.
Mhm.
Or the mother,
And
mother of the.
people wonder why we're getting sick and why we're struggling with our health.
Did you see the video the other day of the little chicks all getting clamped
I
and
seen that, yeah,
vaccinated?
yes, yeah, I seen that, yeah.
Unbelievable. Like, but now I was told 20 years ago, anyway, I think a friend of mine, the father was a vet, and he was able to say that all the poultry here was been heavily injected, and it's not like, years ago you were always told never give a dog chicken bones and all that.
Mm, mm,
I'm going back 40 years ago. The last 20 years you can give them chicken bones because the chickens that have been bred on the mass production farms, they're obviously been injected with some form of a steroid that they're fully grown after 6 weeks. Where
mm,
if you go back years ago, it would take at least 3 months to get a chicken fully grown.
mm.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's crazy, and they're still doing that now. Have you heard about the what they're doing now? They're actually they're trying to feed our cows now and our
with the
chickens.
bovere.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
Are the
absolutely
chickens
crazy.
getting the bovere as well?
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. Yeah,
It's they're putting it in the meal.
yeah.
It's nice.
I was only speaking. I don't know if you know him. I was only speaking to Bart K. Have you heard of him?
Bart.
Bart K.
No.
He's one of the leading scientists now when it comes to, like, the carnivore. He's up there with, like, the likes of Sean Baker, and he was actually telling me about this, and I couldn't believe it. I could not believe how bad it is. They're trying to get us to eat this lab meat, this shit.
Oh yeah.
It's unreal, and that's why when you look at the likes of the veganism, everybody is getting really, really skinny, but really, really skinny, but they're losing so much muscle mass. It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah. They'll be getting sarcopenia.
Oh, it's
Too early.
unbelievable. It's unbelievable how you look at these people and you can see they're not healthy at all.
Yeah, but you see, this is the problem too with a lot of people. They don't understand what a healthy person is. Like,
Mm,
they think, oh, if I don't eat, I'll lose weight. But
yeah.
it doesn't mean you're going to shape up.
Mm,
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you have to move yourself or do some form of exercise as well to tone your body and, to shape up. Because if we could all say, right, if I was carrying 10 or 20 kilo too much, right, I'm not going to eat for 3 weeks. but I could end up then with my arms very thin looking and my legs skinny,
Exactly.
and I'd
Yeah,
still have
yeah.
a bit of a pot belly on me. You
Yeah,
know,
and say,
so
and say,
yeah, you have to be in proportion. Now, and you're just talking about the food there, like it is worrying what they're doing, you know. And then, but you know, you have an awful lot of people buying into it. Like, I mean, I've heard people, even elderly people, talking about, oh yeah, we can eat these bugs and eat. I says, what are you
mm,
talking about? I says, the people
mm,
telling you to eat these bugs are going to eat them. Why are you
mm,
going to eat them? And they even, you know, the woodlice, the woodlouse,
mm, mm,
like they take away heavy metals. They're one of God's. I don't know, like without I'm not that religious, but they have their role in life to take away the heavy metals and toxins. You know,
mm.
that's why they're always under rocks, under concrete, or under wood. And just a relation of mine was trying to tell me, yeah, we're going to be able to gather these up and cook them and eat them. You
Yeah, it's
know,
crazy. It's crazy. It
I
really
said
is.
to
It's
them,
crazy.
if you eat them, you will die, and you deserve to die because they're not for that. If people were meant to
Mm,
eat these type of things, we would have been eating them thousands of years ago.
mm. 100%.
It's-
100%.
you know, you know, and then
And no,
yeah,
no, no, nobody can tell me when you look at a vegan burger that was made in a lab that has over 40, that has probably around 40 ingredients in it, and then you look at the standard beef burger that has just one ingredient in it, and that's beef. Nobody's going to tell me that the lab burger is better for me. Nobody.
well, all I can relate it to is, do you remember when they cloned the sheep?
Mm,
They cloned it in Scotland, was it? And it died.
I remember. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, it died. It died after a year or two.
Yeah.
But you see, the reason, so they cloned it, so they made it a twin of what it came
Mm,
from,
I remember. Yeah.
of
Yeah.
its parent or whatever.
Mhm.
But what
It's
they did
scary.
was, it's like it's diluting the nutrients that
Yeah.
the whole animal hadn't got the immune system to live a life.
Yeah, it's honestly, it makes me really angry that they're messing with our food. It just makes me extremely angry
Yeah, but
because there's
people
an
are just
off,
going along with it. They think it's the
but
thing to do.
that's what I'm saying. A lot of people are going along with it because they're convinced that the government and the health system has their best interests when it comes to health, and it's complete and utter bullshit. What they
Oh
want
yeah.
is they want you to get sick, so you're in their hands, like you are at the moment, and they're
Mm,
trying to push statins on you, and it
mm.
all just leads to money. That's all it is. It's
Oh
all
yeah. Well,
leads to
they're
greed.
doing it to everybody. They're doing it to
Yeah.
everybody. I was even talking to a girl there I went to school with years ago. And, like I know her years and years, and she was telling me her cholesterol is high. And so I told her the story, and I said, look, there's other ways of getting it down. But you see, it's people's lifestyles as well. Like, I mean, the likes of alcohol and all that will bring up cholesterol, you know.
hmm
You know.
but that's completely different. As I said, when you have this high amount, this is all inflammation. Like you said at the very, very
But do you
beginning,
think you think the cholesterol's been caused by the inflammation?
yeah, because like you mentioned at the very, very beginning, there's no good or bad cholesterol. Cholesterol is just cholesterol.
Mm,
Cholesterol is vital for the body. The problem is not the cholesterol. The problem is the triglycerides and the inflammation. That's the problem.
mm. Yeah, now my triglycerides are low. But what I was going to say to you, but what you have, what you're after making me do now, anyways, I am going to really try this carnivore diet. And, like,
Like to be
I'm
honest with
just
you,
going to go with the eggs, but you don't eat bread, no.
no, I mean, I've been talking to you now for the last year, and the last thing I want to do is I don't want to see you in harm, like getting really, really sick when I know I could have done something to help you out.
Mm.
All I'm asking you to do, Pat, is just try it.
Yeah, I'll try the
Just,
carnivore. Yeah,
just,
I
just,
know a
just,
lot of people that tried it.
just try it
Yeah,
for 1 month. That's all I'm asking. But
yeah,
make sure if you do it, you have to make sure you do it right because a lot of people make mistakes. So the first mistake is they go too low fat. They go too high protein. That's a big mistake. So you need
right.
to make sure that if you buy a ribeye steak,
So go bit
you
of
need to
strip of
make
fat in it.
keep the fat in it. Don't get rid of it. And
Yeah.
then when
I
you
eat it.
have it, yeah,
Eat it.
when you have all that fat in the pan, don't get rid of it. Put it back on your meat. That's number one. Number 2,
What,
get
that big
rid.
layer of fat it leaves, yeah?
Yes, put it all back onto your meat. Don't get rid of it. Eat it all, every single bit of it. Number 2, get rid of the vegetables. Every single one of them. I don't care what it is. Spinach, carrots, broccoli,
Give it
asparagus.
to the kids.
Get rid of it all. All I want you to do is eat an animal-based diet of red meat, eggs, lamb. That's it. Nothing else, and water. That's it. Give it 1 month. That's all
No
I'm
chicken.
asking. No, oh, you can have chicken as long as it has the skin on it. Yeah,
Yeah, I always eat with the skin, yeah.
yeah. But
There's
that's it.
obviously...
Nothing else. And to be honest with you, I would say to you, eat as much as you like, as much as you like. So if you say like, you know what, I've eaten that ribeye, but I fancy having another one, have another one.
You know, the other thing, it's good to, like, because I have been eating a lot more red meat recently, but I have, because I always was away from it, because 15 years ago I got gout,
Mm.
and they said it was from, it was the rich man's food, and that particular summer I was up to an awful lot of barbecues. But actually, alcohol triggers the gout.
Yeah.
But you know what? I would have been eating a good bit of pork that time.
No,
But
see the
pork
part.
is
Yeah,
pork isn't good meat. It's not good.
no, yeah, again, but you have to
So I
find out
stopped that.
what's. But yeah, again, you have to find. It might not just be the pork. If the pork was 100% pork meat, I don't
Mm,
think you would have any issues whatsoever.
mm.
Whereas if you look at the pork in our country, it's very, very poor. It has so much ingredient. You look at the pork sausages in our country, it's only 70%.
But sausages are all sausages are a waste product.
Yeah, because it has too much
Mm.
junk in it.
No,
So
but
I
I'm
mean,
talking about your lion pork chops or your fillet of pork.
yeah,
Well, there's no fat in the fillet of pork really. Only, well, it might be a little bit in it, but it wouldn't be enough. The lion pork chops on, but I keep away from pork. I haven't had pork for years and years and
yeah.
years.
And the
I
thing
don't
about
think
and the thing about and the thing about pork is, especially in this country, is it has too much nitrates in it,
yeah.
and nitrates can actually upset your stomach as well. But going back to what you were mentioning about your
It's
gouts,
yeah.
the gout issue is caused by it's a lot of people
Uric
in the
acid.
yeah a lot of people will say it's down to red meat and seafood. It's complete rubbish. It's down to, again, I'll repeat this, it's down to inflammation. Inflammation is what's causing the joint pain, arthritis, and gout pain. That's what's causing the
Yeah, well,
problems.
the gout. What happens with the gout is, well, with me, I was getting it in my toes, but it wasn't sore, so it went to the knees, and it crystallizes the
Mm,
fluid in the knee, and it was like I woke up one day, like this is 15 years ago, and it was like I thought somebody was after sneaking into my house during the night, cutting out my kneecaps and
mm,
sticking broken glass in behind my knees. That's how
mm,
sore it was.
mm.
But I know the alcohol, like they reckon cheese, high foods with high purines. But I
Purines,
mean, yeah, that's that cause it. But look, at the end of the day, I do know, like, if I was there's probably other reasons behind it, but I do know that once I had one beer, like back then, the next thing I could feel it kicking in on me, and
mm,
I ended up getting MRI scans done on my knees and all that. And then the doctor says to me, he was putting me on a gout tablet.
mm,
But you see, I knew a man, elderly man, he's still alive. I'd say he's well in his 80s. But he'd very bad gout.
mm.
But I heard he got the cure for it. And you know what the cure for it is? So it must be an anti-inflammatory. It's a celery seed
Mhm,
you can get in the health shops. It's just like it's a very dry seed, and you just use a teaspoon of it. I was just told to press it with the back of the spoon, add boiling water, stir it, leave it for 15 minutes, but stir it every 5 minutes, and then drain it and drink it. It's like a very strong green tea
mhm,
that expels the uric acid. It worked. Now I done it every day for a month. You only take 1 cup because that's all you need. But the other thing as well is it takes a lot of vitamin A out of your body.
mhm.
So that's why you just take the 1 cup a day. That's all that's needed. But it worked nearly straight away. After 3 days, I wasn't bothering me, and I went where I couldn't even drive the car properly. I ended up having to go down to Clane Hospital for the MRI scans, and I had to drive down myself, and it nearly killed me.
Wow.
Nearly killed me.
Yeah, and I've heard so many stories. 'Cause I only had a woman on there last week. She also suffered with gout and arthritis for over 30 years.
Mm.
And she went on the carnivore diet. Within the third month, it was gone. 7 years later, to this day, she hasn't had one flare up.
Tell me, the way you say your eggs. Actually, eggs would have purines in them anyway. But now I've had 2 fried eggs today. When you're doing your eggs, do you boil them or scramble them or?
Now you can do what you want, but when you mention about the the purines is in the egg white. So the egg white is more inflammatory than the egg yellow. So the egg yellow is the most important part of the egg. So what I would recommend is, if you are going to have a large portion of eggs, have the majority of them egg yellows, and then probably half of egg whites.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, if I'm going to eat eggs every day, I'd be only eating 2, maybe 3, maybe an odd day 4. But I wouldn't eat any more than that. Like I'd be able to eat. I'd probably, if I'm doing it, I'll scramble them and I'll put a bit of butter in them, real butter.
And when you say you wouldn't be able to eat any more of them,
Well, I
like, is
just
that
wouldn't
because
want to. I
is
wouldn't
that
have
because
I wouldn't have the interest. No, I'd rather than if I had the eggs, then I would what I would do if I was to do that diet is, first of all, I probably wouldn't eat in the morning. I'd leave it till
yeah.
around lunchtime and I'd have the eggs. And then later in the evening, I'd probably go for the 1 or 2 steaks.
Yeah, that's
And that, and
perfect.
that, and that would
Perfect.
do me. That
Yeah,
would do me.
perfect. Yeah.
I'd be quite happy with that, Yeah, I will try it, yeah. Just I've gotten a good bit of shopping this week. But herself, she's a load of beef coming over now. Actually, how old are you? My partner, she'd be 50 now in October. And I showed her, I says, I have a podcast with this chap here. She said, he's only a young fella, she said. I
That's a
said,
that's a compliment.
yeah, I says, yeah, he's probably only about 35 or so. That's why I surprised you that you're 51.
Yeah, 52 now in November, and you're a Liverpool supporter. Good man.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you, well, nothing's won yet. I'd never count the chickens before the hatch.
I
But
think it's done and dusted. I think it's all over.
I tell you though, when Newcastle scored them couple of goals, or not Newcastle, the Newcastle game, then when Arsenal beat Newcastle,
Yeah.
late, they got the 2 late goals. I thought, God, because even though 4 or 5 games Liverpool have at home and one of them's against Arsenal, they're all hard games Liverpool have. Arsenal have an easier running, but I mean, they're probably more likely to slip up. But I have to say now, yeah, man, he got a great season now of Salah.
Yeah.
Because Salah, I thought, lost half a yard there the last couple of seasons, but he seemed to have a good, fitness, a different type of fitness regime for them this year.
You can see with Salah, and especially Van Dijk as well. If they are going to leave, they want to leave on their own terms. They want to leave like winning the league.
Oh, well, they have to. Yeah, well, it's Salah's probably, yeah, but I'd say Van Dijk, there might be another couple of seasons in him.
Well, I hope so, because out of the 3 of them, I have no problem with Salah leaving. I have no problem with Trent leaving. But Van Dijk is the one. Van Dijk, I don't want to leave.
Oh, yeah, you'd need him. And what you call him? There's kind of rumours they might get Harry Kane.
No, I wouldn't go after Harry Kane. I think he's lost. He has no pace at all.
He never really had. He's one of them. He was kind of like a Sheringham type striker where he'd pop up and he'd just be like he's not about. I'm surprised he's not scoring more over there in Germany now. A lot of the goals seem to be penalties.
See, I would rather have a team right now like PSG or Barcelona, where they're extremely fast. Like you look at the players they have, every one of them can dribble, they can pass, they can run. Like they're just when you watch them again, when you watch PSG play us, they just played us off the park. They just
Well,
played
yeah,
us.
especially
It was unbelievable.
like Liverpool getting we beat them over there, was it?
We beat them
In
by a
Paris.
lucky goal. Yeah, lucky goal.
Yeah, and I remember saying to me, older son was back from Australia. I just says to him, I can't see us beating them in Anfield. I says they could score 2 or 3 goals against us. I says, why
Easily,
not?
yeah.
I says, Alisson's not going to be pulling off saves like that for
No,
another hour and a half or so.
no,
But
no.
look, it ended up on. Look, they got the goal and ended up in penalties. But they were very unlucky. Well, look, my attitude anyway of football is, like I've done a lot of football coaching, is no player needs to be offside.
No.
Uh,
Yeah.
And when they're getting paid millions, they've no excuse.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what
I
I mean?
know.
You never need to be offside. Did you
And
just make sure?
Nunez is a bleeding nuisance, isn't he?
We went over to see Liverpool and Leicester 2 years ago. It was the end of 2022. And Leicester scored first. And Liverpool got 2 OGs. Nunez was playing. And I just thought, he has to go. I thought, I have to be careful. You're not putting this on the thing, are you? Will
No,
everyone see this?
no.
I says, he just, like, he's fast and all that, but he was making all the wrong runs. And then, even though Liverpool scored 2 OGs, won the game 2-1, but we went down the road into a bar and only 100 yards from Anfield, and they were all giving out about the way Liverpool were playing, you know. My son wasn't happy because he was after paying to bring me over. I said, it kind of put me off the whole lot of them. I says, the money they're getting, I said, and they can't, like, it was like they couldn't play the game properly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You
It's
know,
crazy.
like you expect it from young players, like, you know, getting caught offside or making the wrong runs. But when you have players, people don't realise that them players, like the money they're on, they have to be practiced every day. Like,
I know.
you know,
I know.
it just allows for all that, you know.
They're professionals. Right, Pat.
Yeah.
I have to go. I have check-ins
Yeah.
now shortly. But thanks for coming on, anyway.
Yeah. Where's this going anyway?
This is going to go on my podcast, so we're just gonna basically have about first 45 minutes of it. Yeah. So
And
it's
where
just
does
going to
it
go on.
be? On the TikTok?
No, it's going
No?
to be on a podcast. It's not going to be on any
Oh,
social media platforms at all. It's going
and
to be on
can
a
I,
podcast.
oh yeah, and I'm able to see this, am I?
No, you'll be able to hear it only. You won't be able to see us at all. You'll be only able to hear it.
Oh, be like a radio. Oh, you won't have it like the way
Yeah.
it
So when
won't be up the way we're talking now, and you see my face in your
no
face.
when people switch on, they'll only hear us just talking. That's it.
Anyway, look, I'll keep in touch with you anyway. Look, and I'm gonna go for it, but probably what I have here in the house now. Well, it'd be Monday week. Like I'm 83 kilo. Probably I was down under 82. You know.
I wouldn't worry about your weight. Your weight
I'm
is
not worried about me weight now at all. No, I needed to get it down. I think when I'm in, I'll just tell you this, like when I was 13 stone 20 years ago or 25 years ago, I looked fat. But if I'm 13 stone now, I don't really look heavy. I don't know why that is. Like it
And what
showed
height are you?
more.
What height are you? What
I'm
height are
not. I'm
you?
only 5. I'm just under 5'8".
Okay, well I'm only 5'3", and I was over 19 stone.
They're only 5'3". Jeez, you
I
look
was five.
tall.
I'm 5'3", and when I used to play rugby, I
Mm.
blew up to over 300 pounds, nearly 19.5 stone.
Just very quickly, I see it with a couple of young fellas there. You know, when they're training and they're doing the weights and all that, and they get too involved in the food.
Absolutely, it's crazy.
They get content, I know a chap that's on the carnivore diet, but he's using a lot of rice. Now, he has cut back on the rice, but he's not. He has lost probably about a couple of stone, maybe 3 or 4 stone, but he's not going to shift the rest of the belly fat because the rice is very high in carbs.
And see, the problem is when you eat carbohydrates, you don't know when to stop.
Oh yeah, it's a cycle.
You don't know when to stop. So that was one thing I always struggled with. I could eat and I could never allow myself to stop. I would have a dinner and then I would eat. The treats would be calling me. I'd eat them. I'd probably
Yeah.
have a bowl. I'd probably have a bowl of cereal. Then she'd probably bring out some sweets. I'd eat them as well. So I could never get to a situation where Jesus, like I'm full. Whereas now I have 2 meals a day. I eat the first one in the morning and I'm stuffed. I can't eat anymore for another 9 hours. I'm stuffed, absolutely full. I was never in that situation ever, ever. I was always hungry. Every 2 hours I had to eat. Every 2 hours. I was always hungry.
You know, this injection they're taking. One fella
Oh,
was saying,
yeah. That's just,
the,
see that?
one fella was saying it's only since he's taken the injection that he kind of, he knows when he's full, where
Yeah.
before he's never felt full. And that's why he was so big, you know. But I mean,
But
I've been
see,
fairly good. But all my life, my weight was up and down, like, you know, but I've just kind of, I'm hovering. I'd like, see, if I lost a stone now, it probably wouldn't suit me. I'd
mm,
probably look too thin. But I'd
mm,
say a lot of mine, where I want to lose this stone is visceral and it's around the stomach, you know. But
mm,
that's some achievement. You were 19 stone and you were 5'3".
mm.
And what are you now?
I'd say I'm around probably 10.5 stone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm about 12, 10, I'd say. There after Christmas, I went off sugar for the month and I went down to about nearly 81.5 kg. But I tell you what, I had a withdrawal symptom from now, you know, because you'd be so used to the bit of sugar over the Christmas and all that. But no, I'm going to hit that again, like, and yeah, I don't have to eat what's out there anyway. Actually, I bought 4 steaks today, and
See, what'll happen? What'll happen is in the first 2 weeks you are going to have those withdrawal symptoms. But
mm,
the more you keep on doing this and become fat adapted and you get deep into ketosis,
mm.
those withdrawal symptoms are going to go very, very quickly.
Yeah, no, I'll be able for them anyway. I'll be well able for them. Like I haven't been eating any junk at all, like in weeks, you know. But yeah,
All I'll say to you is this, Pat: forget about your weight and just focus on your health. That's all I'll say
on the
to you.
eating, yeah. No, great. Thanks, talking to you. Thanks
All
for
right,
talking,
buddy.
Mark. And
Speak
all right, all the best. Talk to you
speak
soon.
soon. Bye
God
bye.
bless.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.